Hey guys, I'm Hellhound, and I wasn't planning on doing a video about this, but I reviewed the latest DC Extended Universe film, Justice League, which I really liked. Check that out if you haven't already. My review, I mean, and the movie itself. A lot of people are being unfair and criticizing it, but I think that, I don't know, there's people who think that if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you can't like the DC movies, so whatever, they're heavily biased. It was a great movie, I don't care what you say. All the characters are done well. It had its problems, but the characters were done perfectly, so that's all I cared about, seeing them come to life on the big screen. So, anyway, I figured it's only fair that I review the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And I actually did talk about Thor Ragnarok, namely. I did talk about that a couple times in some past videos, but I figured I should give it its own first impressions video, even though it's not really first impressions, so it was a couple weeks ago I saw it. But anyway, oh yeah, Thor. We all love Thor, right? Having been a comic book fan my whole life, I've always loved Thor. I always thought he was great, and I even dressed up as Thor for Halloween one year when I was a kid. Look at that. Well, actually, no, I was the Red Power Ranger, but, well, you get the idea. I've always been a Thor fan. I gotta say, out of the four, like, main Avengers in the movies, you know, the Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America being the others, Thor probably is my least favorite, but I don't know. Ragnarok made me almost reconsider that. Now, I gotta say, off the bat, this was the Thor movie I've been waiting for. I thought the first Thor was pretty good. You know, he didn't have his powers for the majority of the movie, which was fine. I thought that was fine. So you didn't really get to see, like, a lot of Thor action with the hammer and the lightning and all that stuff. But, you know, the flying, he was kind of made into a mortal, not immortal, a mortal. When you say both of those, like, really fast, it kind of sounds like the same. Anyway, but yeah, I thought Anthony Hopkins was great as Odin. Tom Hiddleston was fantastic as Loki, and still is. He's like the most recurring villain in the MCU, and he was also the main villain in the Avengers movie, which is also awesome, I might add. And he's probably the best villain by far in the MCU. The Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming being a close second. He was an awesome villain, too. Aside from those two, we haven't really had a lot of great villains in the Marvel movies, but I know that they're coming. They're going to be there, you know. Thanos is going to be really cool in Avengers Infinity War, I'm sure. So, but anyway, yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, the first movie was pretty good. Thor: The Dark World, it was okay. I'd kind of place it at the bottom of the MCU movies, along with like Iron Man 3. It wasn't like one of the best for sure. It was definitely towards the bottom. I think that they're all good. I don't think that there is a horrible entry in the MCU yet. I think there's some that are way better than others. Some are kind of mediocre. But I'd say Thor Ragnarok was among one of the best. It was right up there with the Avengers, the first Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War. It was definitely up there with among the best. I thought it was done really, really well. And as I said, it was the Thor movie I've been waiting for. Now, it had a great story, and it was very entertaining. I was never bored. It was very amusing the whole way through. It was action-packed. I was glued to the screen every minute. It was very captivating and very energetic. It had a very a kind of lighthearted tone, but like it knew when to be serious and it knew when to like have touch on like slightly darker themes. I thought that the Dark World had like the problem of like it was a little too like serious and like I mean there's a lot of jokes, there always is, there in the Marvel movies, but like I thought it was just kind of boring. It was just kind of dull. It was a little bland. This one was full of life, and it was just like very, 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 very energetic and fast paced. Now there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters. There's pretty much like two main villains really, even though they didn't really have anything to do with each other, which was interesting. And there was a lot going on, but I think they had plenty of time to flesh out each character and develop every storyline, and even have like a payoff. Everything that was built up had a satisfying finish, and like they didn't waste any time. There's no plot lines that went nowhere. And I think this movie has gotten a positive response so far. I think everybody's liked it. A lot of people have said it is their favorite Thor film. When I was watching it, I was like, I'm having a lot of fun here. I'm enjoying this movie. I bet this is going to be one of the ones that people rip apart and say that it was just too much. It was just mindless popcorn fluff, just mindless Hollywood entertainment, just, you know, with no substance. I figured that's what was going to come, but fortunately, I think the MCU can kind of do no wrong. I think people are a little biased towards it, like people want to like them, which is why I think Spider-Man Homecoming was it's kind of overrated, and it was given a much better response than it deserved. It was a good movie, I liked it, but I don't think it was as good as people said. It was not the ultimate Spider-Man film. This was the ultimate Thor film, I gotta say. And he didn't really lose his powers, but he did lose his hammer. His hammer got so much, the Mjolnir, I guess it's pronounced, I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry. His mystical hammer got destroyed, and they even cut all his hair off. So it was kind of like the first movie. He was somewhat stripped of his powers, and he was often faced against enemies that were much more powerful, much deadlier than he was. They were a lot stronger. So it was kind of took the first movie's dynamic of making him a little less power. They've done that with Superman a lot. Superman's just way too overpowered, and so they always put him in situations where somebody is either stronger than him or they strip him of his powers, usually with kryptonite, and it usually makes for good storytelling. So I think some people did have a problem with that. They're like, oh, he was too human, he didn't seem like a powerful hero and all that stuff. But I liked it. I think that was a good dynamic because we did see him as Thor with his powers a lot too. So, they balance that out perfectly. Loki Returns. Everybody knows that. Tom Hiddleston came back. He didn't really die. It was another fake-out death. The MCU is notorious for having fake-out deaths. Somebody died and didn't really die. And I think the only death I wanted to be fake was Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Oh, sorry if I spoil you. Well, you've already seen all these movies if you're watching this. Which this movie, Thor Ragnarok, I won't have any spoilers for this movie, but if you are watching this video, I assume that you've seen all the other MCU films, because obviously, to know what I'm talking about in this movie, even without revealing spoilers, you're going to have to know how some of those ended. Loki's back. He's still posing as Odin, Anthony Hopkins, who's actually been banished to another realm, which is ending soon. And so Thor's kind of dealing with the loss of his father, and then he's dealing with, there's a lot of things going on. Hela, who's the main villain, played by Kate Blanchett. In this movie, she's Odin's oldest. She's Odin's firstborn, and she's come to take her rightful place, her birthright, since Odin is going away. She wants to take over Asgard. And I know in the comics, isn't she usually Loki's daughter? Pretty sure Hela is usually Loki's daughter. I don't think she's normally. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she's normally Odin's firstborn. I'll admit I haven't read a whole lot of Thor comics. I wasn't always the biggest reader of Thor growing up. I read a lot of Marvel comics, mostly Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Hulk. And I read a lot of the Avengers comics, and I've read a lot of the Iron Man, and I've read quite a few Thor comics in my time, but I didn't really keep up with the mythology as much as some of the others, and so, but I'm pretty sure I remember her being Loki's daughter usually, but yeah, in this one, she's Odin's firstborn, and it fits, She wants to take her rightful place, she wants to be the new ruler of Asgard. It fits. We have Heimdall, played by Idris Elba. He's returning for the first two films. He's been in all three Thor movies. I think he was in one of the Avengers movies as well, briefly. Then the other main villain is the Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum, and it did annoy me that he didn't have blue skin. He did a little blue, like a soul patch or something, or I don't know what it was supposed to be, but he played him very well. He was very funny. He was very quirky. It was definitely a Jeff Goldblum role. He definitely played Jeff Goldblum, but it's cool to see him in a movie again. I feel like we haven't seen him in a while, and he's going to be in the next Jurassic Park movie, the second Jurassic World, I should say, which I'm freaking psyched about, returning as Ian Malcolm. How freaking cool is that? It was great to see him. He was a good choice with the Grand Master. Yeah, he was quirky, he was goofy, he was awkward, and he was very, very funny. He had some great lines. So yeah, basically, the main premise is Thor is searching for the remaining Infinity Stones. Hela takes over Asgard and kind of exiles Thor from it. He arrives in Sakaar, which is ruled by the Grand Master, and he's thrown into the Contest of Champions, which I know you guys, if you're a Marvel fan, you'll get that reference. And the Grand Master, who Loki is already sucking up to, and has pitted Thor against the Hulk. That's right, the Hulk has a very expanded role in this movie. He's a main character, and he might even get more screen time than he did in the Avengers movies, possibly. At least as the Hulk character, and he actually has dialogue, he actually has lines. I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting to see a movie where the Hulk actually has a personality, where he's actually a character who talks, has a lot of lines and dialogue, and he's not just Bruce Banner's evil, angry side who doesn't ever barely talk, except for the occasional Hulk smash or puny god or something. He actually talks a lot in this movie, and he's actually a fleshed out character. It's not just Bruce Banner, it's actually the Hulk. Hulk that we see, which is so great. I've been waiting for that so long. I've always thought it was stupid how the movies didn't have him talk very much. It was like they were trying to be like the 70s TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, which was awesome. I love that show, but I want to see a more faithful representation of the character, and I finally got that in this Thor movie. I wish they would make another solo Hulk film, though, and have him fight the leader. Samuel Stearns was actually set up to become the leader at the end of Incredible Hulk, and that was like almost a decade ago. So come on, people, get your crap together. You already ruined the Mandarin. Let's at least see the leader done right. We already seen Loki. We've seen Thor's arch nemesis done really well. We saw the Red Skull briefly, and we even saw a fake version of the Mandarin, which I'm still pissed off about. But the one remaining is the leader. Do the leader. He's a great villain. He's awesome. But anyway, you also have Scourge, played by Karl Urban, who he's becoming like one of my favorite actors who I never really took the time to really notice. I know he's in a lot of my favorite movies. He was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was in Star Trek as McCoy. He was in. He even played the title character in Dredd. He played Judge Dredd. So he's become he's in a lot of my favorite movies, a lot of my favorite franchises. A lot of movies that are adaptations of something I grew up with, basically. And I never really took the time to notice, hey, that's that same guy who's been in all these great movies and he's played great characters this time. Maybe I should recognize him a little bit. So yeah, Karl Urban, I got to give him a shout out. Also the giant, huge, demonic Surtur in Muspelheim, I think it's pronounced. I don't know. I don't. My pronunciation of certain Norse mythology terms, I guess, is limited. My knowledge of I know a lot about mythology, but I'm always reading them. I'm not hearing them pronounced out loud. So I apologize if if some of my pronunciations are off. But anyway, yeah. So this is packed with characters, 2 villains pretty much in Hela and the Grand Master, and even Loki, who at this point he's kind of, he's been a villain, and we've seen him as an ally of Thor. He kind of goes back and forth. I kind of wish that he would choose one side or another at this point, because, we can only see him, ally himself with Thor, and then betray him, and then turn the tables on him, turn against him at the last second so many times. He was a great villain in the first Thor movie. He was a great villain, wonderful, phenomenal villain in The Avengers. But now, at this point, I don't think he should ever return to Earthrealm, because everybody hates him there, and, he'll never be accepted for the horrible things he did. But, either be Thor's ally or just get out of the way. I kind of want to see him do something. And he's still by far Marvel's best villain in the cinematic universe. So I like seeing the character, and we have seen a lot of him, which is great. But I kind of wish that they'd do something a little. They have a little bit of consistency and kind of pick one or the other. But it was still great. I have no complaints. He was still done very well. He was in the movie a lot, and he was mostly on Thor's side. But there was a couple moments it's oh, I'm going to betray you at the last minute. I'm going to be a backstabber, and then oh wait, no, I'm not. I'm going to fight by your side again. It's just kind of okay, how long can they do that? But anyway, it was okay. Yeah, lots of characters, plenty of time to develop them all. I think that it wasn't crowded as it would seem. On paper, if you read the plot summary, it's going to seem like a very crowded movie, like Spider-Man 3 or or something like that. But really, I think they give it plenty of time. And there's a lot of humorous lines. They're really funny. Thor's really funny. I think this might have been Chris Hemsworth's best performance. I always thought that Tom Hiddleston was kind of a better actor, and he was better at playing Loki than Hemsworth is. Not that Hemsworth's a bad Thor by any means. He's an ideal Thor, I think. I think he's definitely the definitive Thor actor in many ways. But I think this was his best performance. I think he's grown a lot acting wise. I think that because the Thor movies, in my opinion, were always kind of the weak link of the MCU. Because look at the Captain America movies; they're fantastic, they're amazing, and the Thor movies were just kind of good, they're kind of hit or miss. But with this movie, that's all changed. I take back everything I said. Chris Hemsworth is a perfect Thor. He's awesome. I want to see him play He-Man. He needs to shave, have a slightly different hairstyle and play He-Man. I know it'd be a little redundant because Jason Momoa plays Aquaman, and we've seen him in that same similar kind of barbarian role so many times with the beard and the long hair. He's played that a lot. He's good at it, but he's kind of typecast. And I understand that Chris Hemsworth wouldn't want to do that, but I think he should play He-Man. I think he'd be a good one. And he's a great Thor, as I said. But yeah, lots of action, lots of great set pieces, great locations, great scenery, awesome visuals, fully fleshed out characters. Cate Blanchett was a great Hela, I think. They changed her origin a lot, but I think it fit within the movie really well. Again, Idris Elba returning as Heimdall. He was awesome. And again, I have nothing but respect for Karl Urban. He's played a lot of my favorite characters before he even played. Like these were my favorite characters before he even played them, and he did a great job at bringing them to life on the big screen in a live action movie. So yeah, I have nothing but respect for that. Also there's the Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson's character, who's like one of the last remaining Valkyries. Yeah, her, like, most of her kind was killed off, and she's given, like, elaborate backstory, and she's fully fleshed out. I had a feeling, and I don't think this is a spoiler, okay, minor spoiler alert, I knew she was going to team up with Thor at the end. I knew she was going to turn around and be a good guy. She was kind of like a bounty hunter type, sort of, at the beginning. She's, yeah, she kind of saved his life, though, in Sakaar, when, you know, it was all those things were about to kill him. And there's the big, I forget his name, that big guy. He looks like a blue The Thing. And I think they even changed him a little bit to make him not resemble The Thing as much, since unfortunately in the Fantastic Four is not part of the MCU, which is one of my biggest gripes with it. I'm fine with the X-Men not being part of the MCU, because they got a huge mythology as it is. They got a huge X-Men universe as it is. But Fantastic Four need to be part of it. I need to see Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman and Human Torch and The Thing in the MCU. They need to be part of it. I'd love if they were if they would be in Infinity War, but unfortunately they won't. It really sucks, but what can you do? But yeah, the big blue guy, I can't remember, I forget his name. He was in the comics a lot too. I remember saying, hey, he looks a little different in here, because I think they tried to make him look, they didn't want comparisons with The Thing, so they made him blue. It's kind of funny they made him blue, but they didn't want to make the Grandmaster blue. And their reasoning, I heard, was that because Jeff Goldblum already played a blue character in Earth Girls Are Easy. Like, really? Like, does anybody even remember that? I mean, I like that movie, don't get me wrong. I've got it on VHS, but, I mean, come on, really? That's the reasoning? You know, they thought it would kind of take away from his performance. It would kind of, which I understand. I guess it's fine. They didn't want to put him under heavy makeup because it might kind of. But I think Jeff Goldblum would still shine through. Come on, he's such a powerful presence. Even if he is a little repetitive, even if he isn't very versatile, kind of plays the same character a lot. But I love watching him. He's just awesome. Yeah, all the characters are really good. The scenes on the bridge and the scene of the climax, a very spectacular finale, seeing Asgard being destroyed and stuff. And I guess another minor spoiler alert: the way they dispatched the villain and the way they saved the day and save Asgard was very creative. And wow, like I thought that wasn't something that like I saw coming. There's a lot of twists and turns, like in Wonder Woman, for example. That was a great movie. That was one of the better DC Extended Universe movies. But I saw the ending coming. I saw the twists and turns. I knew how they were going to go about it, and I knew how she was going to defeat the bad guy Ares. I knew how it was going to go down. In this movie, I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty clever. And it's not really the best idea. It's not really looking out for everybody, but it's like the only plausible way. It's the only plausible outcome. And I thought that was really awesome. So yeah, I won't spoil it exactly what happens, but I'm just saying, I think you'll be pleased. I think you'll think it was cool. Yeah, overall, I definitely recommend this movie. I give it both thumbs up. It's right up there with one of MCU's best. It's definitely either a 9 or a 10, and it's definitely the definitive Thor movie, I would say. I think it's the quintessential, Thor story, So for sure, so now he can rank up there with the others. We definitely need another solo Hulk film. I'm not gonna. My two biggest gripes with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is obviously the other one being the Fantastic Four not being part of it, but my main one being that Hulk needs a solo movie. He needs more solo movies. We need to see the leader. I want to see Doc Samson. I want to see, the Abomination again, perhaps. So many characters. I want to see Betty Ross again. I don't like his romance with Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson. I don't like it. I want to see him get back with Betty Ross. We saw Thunderbolt Ross in Civil War, played again by William Hurt. So why not? Why can't they bring back his daughter? I mean, come on. There's a few minor gripes. I feel like they're kind of doing their own thing with the Hulk character, and they're not respecting the source material, which is one of the problems I had with the TV show, but, at least that had kind of a valid excuse. Come on, Marvel. The Hulk's my second favorite character next to Spider-Man. I just want to see him done properly. I want to see all those great characters come to life on the big screen. But yeah, overall, I'm getting off topic, I know. I just wanted to kind of talk about the MCU a little bit and kind of the current status of it. It's still going strong. It's still better than the DC Extended Universe overall. Again, I'm not one of those people who thinks you have to be a fan of one or the other. I'm a superhero fan. I want to see them both done well. And I want to say the most is, I love Justice League, I love Thor Ragnarok. It was a great year for superhero movies. Spider-Man: Homecoming, which came out earlier this year, I had my problems with it. I thought it was flawed. I didn't think it was the masterpiece everybody said it was, but it was still Spider-Man, and it was still fun to see, and it was still a welcome addition to the MCU. It's grown on me a little bit. I'm gonna have to give it another watch. I haven't got it on Blu-ray yet. I know I definitely need to. Maybe I'll ask for it for Christmas. Yeah, the MCU definitely still going strong. They had a few bumps along the way. As I said, the DCEU kind of had a really rocky start. I think they're getting better and better. The MCU started off really strong, then kind of like declined a little bit. Iron Man 2 and 3, I didn't think were exactly all that they could have been, especially what they did to the Mandarin. But anyway, Thor Ragnarok, definitely a great addition. Definitely a magnificent Thor movie. Definitely see it. Thor's a great character, and this is a perfect representation of what makes him so awesome. He used to be my least favorite Avenger, but I don't know. After this movie, I don't know. I'm gonna have to rethink that. So, next is Black Panther. That's the next movie in the MCU. I'm thrilled to see that. I'm absolutely psyched. And then we got Infinity War, the Avengers Infinity War. So this is pretty much the last. Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther were like kind of the last MCU movies before what is probably going to be the ultimate MCU entry. So very stoked for that. You guys will be the first to know what I think about it. I'm sure you guys will go see it as well. Let me know what you think in the comments of Thor Ragnarok, and check out my Justice League First Impressions video if you haven't already. Again, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I figured I might as well. It's only fair. So, alright guys, I'm Hellhound. I love superheroes. I love comic books. Let's continue talking about some great characters, and until next time, later.